Hi everyone! In this video I'll share with you how I get from the flowchart that we designed in my last 3 videos to the actual AI assistant, like one that I have on my own website here. Let's get started! Alright, so what I have open here on the left side is the whole Miro board, again, where we left off at the last video at the end of part 3 of the flowchart series. And on the right side, I have a new browser window where I opened voiceflow.com. And Voiceflow is the software that we're going to use to create our AI assistant, or AI chatbot as they call it here. And Voiceflow, as you can see here when we scroll down the website, is a kind of bot builder where you can create something similar like the flowchart, but a bit more complicated. But the outcoming result is then actually a chatbot, not just a graphic that shows a chatbot. And it's used by many big companies here. And you can easily include a knowledge base, which is also possibly a website. You can even collaborate. I'm not using that because I'm still building chatbots on my own. And we can also very easily incorporate this kind of chatbot on any website without much coding knowledge at all. So that's the basics. This is the main tool that the whole AI automation agency community is using these days for building AI assistants, because they offer exactly what we need for that, and they are doing it better and cheaper than some competitors. So that's exactly why I'll also do that in this video. So let's log in. You can quickly register and use a free trial. I think it's 14 days that you can use everything for free. So there's really no risk. And I recommend, if you're new to this, you can just follow along and build this AI assistant together with me, because that's going to be the best way for you to learn about this, and you'll remember more compared to if you're just watching me and not following along. After you log in and potentially go through some tutorial material in the beginning, you will see this kind of window. And here on the top right, you can select New Assistant. Here we are going to enter a name that's just for us, so let's just call it AI Assistant for Language Schools. And if we already have a school in mind, we can also enter that kind of school or client or whatever that is in here to make it specific, but this is a generic one, so let's leave it like this. Then here we can choose chat or voice, and in the case of AI assistants for now, I think everyone always goes with chat. And this is here because Voiceflow had a history of creating interactions for Amazon Alexa, but now they switched and pretty much focus on the text interaction facilitated by AI. So chat is the way to go here. We can even select languages. I used German here before, but for this example, we are using English since this whole video is in English as well. Then I'll press continue here. I can just create the assistant. This stuff here all doesn't matter because it's just me in this account. And here you'll see that I start off with all kind of information stuff, and that's made to make it easier to get started, but actually we don't need it, so let's just get rid of all of it. And all that's left now is this start button, which is where you start every kind of dialog flow. And so let's zoom in here a bit so we can see how we should now go about making this. And I'll try to keep the boxes formatted kind of as similar as possible as I have it in here, so it will be easily translatable from one to the other, but sometimes we might need to make changes. But anyways, before just talking about too much theory, let me just show how this works. So in Voiceflow here, we can just go and select a text block. We click and drag and put it in here. Let me make this window a bit bigger here because that is more easy to see. And so in this new block, we can now also call it greeting, and we can actually type a greeting. Hello and welcome to our language school. We don't only teach you the language, but also culture and context. You'll learn fast in a fun environment with many other motivated students. And then what's interesting here, after we have one text, we can easily use this generate function here to get more variants. So let's see if I press generate 3 variants here. What this Voiceflow software here will do, it will just create options that should have the same meaning but sound different. So for example, welcome to our language school where you'll learn language, culture and context in a fun and motivating environment. Sounds good. At our language school, you'll not only learn the language, but also gain a rich understanding of its culture and context. Fair. Join our language school to experience a fast and enjoyable way to learn language, culture, and context with our motivated students. Yeah, and now I notice these last two, they should have some kind of greeting first. So let's add that. So here, for example, I guess I need to prove first. Here, hello, welcome. And then after this is done, we simply connect from this kind of pin, from this dot here, down to our greeting message, and now we can test it. So to do that, we press this arrow here, or this is the same, we can also press R, but here is the most obvious one. And then you see what happens when you start this AI assistant, and it will just choose one of these 4 messages that we just generated, and then in the end that's all it does for now. It will just not continue, and it says here path not connected, and this one is marked red. That's just because there is nothing after it. So now we can just continue, and the next thing that we have here in our Miro board is the question for the interest. So let's create that question as well. We can just Command C and Command V. Actually, we shouldn't do this because now we got all these options here as well, and that will make it more complicated. So let's delete and instead get a new text block. We can just actually put it in here. There is no need to have a separate box if it's kind of connected in this way. And so we can now ask for the interest. So let's ask, what would you like to learn more about? We just generate one variant. If we think we'll need more afterwards, we can always generate more. What else do you want to learn more about? Is there something that's a wrong one? So we can kick this one out. Actually, we don't want else here. Let's delete this word. What do you want to learn more about? Fair enough. And now the next thing that we have here in our flow in the Miro board is that there are 3 options, and this is not a text block, but instead we are going to enter some buttons here. So let's drag and drop that over here. You see here we are on the right side, so let's just keep that the same way and have that on the right side. Let's call this block interest options. And yeah, now you see the title doesn't really match. So let's actually pull this one out so we can just keep this aligned and call it interest with a question mark. And we just connect them like so. And we connect this like so. This doesn't look very aesthetic now, so let's see how we can fix that. Yeah, this works. Yeah, and this is a question of preference. You might also just want to have them all inside of the same kind of block, like so. But I'm now going to strictly follow the logic of the flowchart. So if someone sees the flowchart and then the voice flow is just super clear what is what, and it maps one-to-one. So let's continue here with the interest options. The first one is group lessons. Then we can add a button, private lessons, and another button, other services. All right, and so here we are not going to continue right away, but instead set 3 variables to these values so we can refer to them again afterwards. And we are going to do that by here selecting action, and then we can set a variable, apply to. We are going to create a new variable, and we are going to call it interest, create variable, and we will name it group lessons. Let's actually make sure we don't capitalize here, so we can just use it inside of sentences. So that will be group lessons. And we go back, and no, that didn't work. Oh yes, we need to use these single quotation marks here, and now that works. Perfect. All right, then we do the same for private lessons, also actions. We set a variable, and now we already created it, so we can just search for it and select it and use the quotation mark, private lessons, and one last time for other services. Great. And now let's continue with another text block, because the next thing is that we ask for the name. Let's make this even a bit bigger so it's easier to keep the overview. So here for the name, we can now say, great to hear you are interested in our, and then we can now use curly brackets open and add interest as a variable here. That will then refer to what the user just selected before, and we end the sentence. Before we continue, quickly need some basic details about you. And then we ask in a new text block, we'll ask for the name. What is your full name? And now you see this is a user-free input, not a user option, so it's not a button, but it's an open text field. Or if we think about the logic of a chatbot, basically the user is supposed to type something in the chatbot below here, like this. And to do that, we go again to this listen here, and we choose capture. And we'll drag it right in here. By the way, in our logic, this one should be the name with a question mark. And this one should be type name. Exactly. And so here we capture the name, and it's captured, we'll capture it in a variable we also call name. And now we also can't forget to connect all these options here. And before we move on, let's quickly test this whole bot and see what it does so far. So I click on this arrow here. And then here, these three options we entered, I can select here, what would you like to learn more about, group lessons, whatever. And then you see, great to hear you're interested in our group lessons. And you'll need to be a bit smart about it to actually get it into a sentence that is grammatically correct. But you see here it works. And it sounds like the bot kind of captured what the user put in. Then we ask for the name, and now there is no kind of button because the user should type something. So if I type Gregor, then the conversation ends again because this goes nowhere, and it shows here by highlighting this in red. And so let's continue. Again, here, this shouldn't be last utterance, but name. And I guess we need to create a new variable. That's why it probably wasn't saved before when I did it last time. All right, so apparently we can't add it here somehow. So let's instead go to the variables here. And here we can also create a new variable, which we are now going to call name. And now we are able to find it here. Usually you can just create it here, but if that doesn't work, there is also this other workaround with the variables here. So let's connect that. And then we can again create kind of a block where the text refers to the name, so it feels like the bot is actually capturing, and it is actually capturing. So this is the email question block. Thank you. Name. Could you give me the email where we can reach you best? And by the way, every time here we can generate some options, and I usually do that for my chatbots. I'm just not doing it here to save some time, because it's every time the same exercise and then some spell checking and checking if the message makes sense. So if you're making this bot for yourself and for client, I recommend you do this. I'm just skipping it here to save some time. All right, we connect this one as well. And then we will capture the email. And let's see if this time it works. No, it also doesn't. So we go here again and we create a variable called email. And for the email, we now have to check if the email is actually correct or not. So let's also add that. All right, thank you, name. Just to make sure we got this right, your email is, and then curly brackets, email, and a question mark. And now we give the user options again. That will be 2 buttons. And the first one, we call it no, there was a mistake. And then this one we can duplicate. And this one is the yes button. Yes, that's right. And we connect them, and actually we can't have them separate here like we had them in our Miro board, because we want to appear them both together. So in this case we'll actually just drag this one. It doesn't even work. I need to delete it here and add the second option here. Yes, that's right. And so from no, we go back to the email field, and from the yes, we will move forward to the question how we can help them. Great, so you have a question about interest, and here we can refer again to the answer they gave previously about whether they're interested in group lessons, private lessons, or something else. And the way we do that is by entering 3 buttons again. And also, as usual, here we had them separate, but just like with the yes and no, or even these buttons before that we put over here, we need to put them together in one block. So let's just add them in here by going to listen and add the buttons. Yes, I have a question. I'd like to talk to someone from language school, or I don't need anything. Thanks. And we'll connect this. And now we have our whole introduction section basically remade here in Voiceflow. And we were even able to sort of have it in the same format as we had it before. So let's continue from here and make our answer question 1 block next. The first thing here we have is that we want to find out what is the user's question. So that's exactly what we are going to ask here. And we will have a listen block where we capture the user input. And in this case, we will leave it at the default value last utterance, which is just the general variable where always the last open user input is stored. And now next, we'll use AI to answer this question. Now we go to AI here, we select Response AI, drag that in here, and then we can now connect them. And the prompt here indeed would then be the variable last utterance. And we have some settings here, like what kind of AI we would use. For example, GPT 3.5. And you see they have different token usage. Token is something that you get from Voiceflow, and it's the same to ChatGPT or all kind of AI services. If you need them to use more processing power, more computer time, then it uses more of your tokens, and tokens you need to buy again once they're used up. So that's why you might want to use a less powerful AI for simple tasks, because it uses less token. And for the most complicated ones, you want to use the higher advanced models like GPT-4. So let's leave that at GPT 3.5 for now. And we can choose some settings here, temperature and max tokens. And now this whole flow should be able to generate an AI answer. So let's quickly see that everything is connected here correctly. If that person has a question, we want to connect it to this question block. Let's move this a bit lower here so it's not crossing other things. Yes. And so now, let's see. This is actually AI. So let's just run through our whole dialogue and see if we can get an AI answer. I'm interested in private lessons. Great to hear you're interested in our private lessons, Gregor at test.com. Actually, there was a mistake. It should have been Greg at test.com. And yes, that is the right one now. And now we can just select here, yes, I have a question. You can see on the left side of the screen, the AI Voiceflow just shows where exactly we are every time. And now I can ask my question, what is 2 + 2? And you see, we get an AI answer 2 plus 2 equals 4. The only thing that we are missing now is this knowledge base, because if we are actually putting this AI assistant on any language school website, we can't just have ChatGPT answer questions without any knowledge. And so, for this example, let's go find a language school that we can just use. Alright, so I just Googled and found this random English school here on the internet, and you see this has all the information that students would need, but it's quite a lot of text. There is some information about the language school as well. Even the in lingua method. And so what we are going to do now is we'll go back to Voiceflow, and here, to make sure this AI response can actually incorporate the knowledge from that website, we go on the content menu here. We have three options: agent, content, and natural language. And here we go to knowledge, and we can add a new data source. And you see we have plain text, upload files, URLs, or sitemap. And if we are taking our knowledge from a website, we are going to go for URLs. And here I'm now just going to copy paste in all the relevant URLs. So that means if I make the URLs visible here, that means for this website, we can, for example, start with the main site. We'll paste that in here. Then what we definitely want is information about the courses. So let's copy paste that one in here as well. And let's do the in lingua method lastly as well. And you can enter a lot more, 10, 20, 30, whatever you think is relevant information. You can even add a refresh date here if you think the website changes frequently, but that's not our problem here. So let's just import. And after just a short moment, you'll see that the status here will switch to import or synced. And now if we go back to our designer, we can add a knowledge base. And to do that, we change this data source from AI model to knowledge base. And it already knows that by knowledge base, I mean all the things that we just put in here. We can even add some instructions here. You are talking to a prospective student. Please be helpful and informative and provide all useful information. Something like this. And now, before we test that, let's just add a few more things. We have this not found path here. And this option is really great because what it does, if it's turned off, you see we only have one option to continue. But if we turn it on, we have another option here. And that will activate if the knowledge base or the AI assistant doesn't have anything to say about that. So let's say you ask about, I don't know, Portuguese course, but this language school doesn't have any Portuguese. So then it might not have anything to say. Or you ask it about a totally unrelated topic, like the weather information of tomorrow. And then, of course, the knowledge base won't have anything about the weather as well. And then it will follow. And that's exactly what we included here already with a sorry, no contact information. And so let's quickly build out the rest of this answer question 1 block here. And the way that works is, let's do the sorry contact info first. I'm sorry, but I am unable to answer your question right now. Please feel free to contact us directly via info@language school.com or call us at +1111111. Something like this. Or a Calendly link would work as well, of course. But let's leave it like this. And then either way, we will ask the user if they want another question. So let's add a text block here. And you'll connect this way. And so this one needs to be connected, not found needs to go here, right? And the last utterance, if it has an answer, we will also ask if they want to ask another question. And then we have two buttons again. Yes, I'd like to ask something else. And no, that was all. And if they have another question, we'll send them back up to here. Okay, what is your question? Like now you see, we can move this block around and it will realign all the arrows around us. And we can see what looks and works the best. All of them are not totally ideal, but let's just leave it like this. It's clear enough. And then, if the answer is no, then we will ask them if they want a call. And for that we also need a new text block. Would you like to book a call with us? And again, we add options for yes and no. And then, by the way, I noticed there was an issue in my flow, so let's also correct that. If the answer is yes, we can move up here and go to the call block. So let's look at the call block next. And for the call block, the first thing, because we already know that they want to call, is we provide them a link to Calendly, or we could also provide contact information. I think that is then specific to whatever the person or the company wants to offer the user. So we can also split the message in two texts actually. So in this case, we'll first say, great, looking forward to talk to you. And then it feels like more conversational. And in the second message, we can say, please book your call directly here. And we can insert a link, Calendly, something like that. This will not work, of course, but if you put in the correct link, it should. And then we move on from here. This is actually almost the whole call block. Now we just ask if they have another question. Is there anything else you would like to ask about? And then we add buttons. Yes, please. No, thanks. Let's make sure we have everything connected here. If they want to call, they'll move over here. And if they say they want a call right in the beginning, They'll also move over here. And then after they booked, we'll give them the chance to ask another question. Could be yes or no. If it's no, this block is ending. And if it's yes, we're moving to the answer block 2. And like we saw in Miro before, answer block 1 and answer block 2 are super similar. So we can also do kind of the same thing and just copy and paste. And you see Voiceflow is quite great at this. Now we can just drag all of these things together to about the right position where we want them. And we'll remove this call option because we don't have that in the answer block 2 here, as you see. But the rest is exactly identical. And so now the whole second block is already done. We just need to connect it here as well. So actually we even get there. Great. And now we have only one block here left in the kind of main body of this AI assistant. That is the nothing block. And here we'll just get a new text block as well. Anything we should know? Okay, is there anything we should know about? And we'll capture the input, which is a capture thing here. We'll again create a new variable. Here, variables. We'll just call it comment. And we'll make sure this thing is also connected to the main flow. And now we only have our exit left. And for that, we'll just add another text block like so. Great, thank you, and contact us again anytime you need something. That we can copy. We have that kind of 4 times, just 2 times it's with a talk soon message. So let's just duplicate that. With Command D we can do that even more quickly. And duplicate again. And duplicate again. Copy, copy, copy. It's kind of funny. Okay, anyways, then we have thanks, talk soon. All right, and then here for the talk soon. Great, thank you, and we are looking forward to talk to you very soon. Great. We'll also take this text here. And now let's make sure we connect it appropriately everywhere. So here, if they don't want another question after the call, we go here. If they asked other questions after the call, but now they are done, they go here. And if they don't want anything, they go here. And now you see we just have the end, that we also need that in Voiceflow to end the bot properly. And we'll just end this thing with the end block. And then we just connect it like so, like so. As always, let me put it to the bottom right. All right, and if you now take a look, we basically have our flowchart that we built here replicated in Voiceflow and in an AI chatbot logic. So let's just give it a try and see if this works. I just press this start button here. Yes, I want to learn more about group lessons. My name is Greg. A.A at A. That's right. And now I have a question. Let's say, what courses do you offer for beginners? We offer English conversation courses, language courses for seniors in English, French. So you can see this is now pulled from the knowledge base. So let's ask something else. What do your courses cost? Yeah, and so this is actually a case where we'll need to make sure we have the right information captured in the knowledge base, because we just put in 3 links and probably the price information is not among them. So this one we need to fix, but that's not the level of detail we want to look at this video. So let's just continue and say that's all that we want to do here. Next, we can have a call. Yeah, let's say we are interested in having a call, and we'll get this kind of booking information. And now we can ask more questions if we want to. So let's say, do you offer classes in Chinese? And now you see this question didn't trigger anything in the knowledge base. So then it went to the alternative path and it showed this message, which is actually the better alternative compared to what it did up here, that it doesn't have any information. So that is how it should be. And let's quickly go to the website and check one more thing that we think it should be able to answer. Let's see. Let's ask something about the virtual classroom. Do you first I'll need to say I ask something else. Yes. Do you offer classes in the virtual classroom? Yeah, well, that was not very explanatory, and here we can make changes in the settings, in the temperature or in the instructions for the bot to get better answers. But you see, it found it in the knowledge base at least. And so that is where we are right now. Let's say that was all. And it says talk to you soon because we went through the call option. So, and that is a very basic AI assistant like the one that I have on my website. And now the last thing to talk about in this video is about how to actually get that on any website, because now it's just here in this Voiceflow app, right? So what you can do to get it on a website is you can click here on the top right, click publish. We can give it a name again, AI Assistant for Language Schools 1. And after it's published, we get the chance to embed the widget, and it will give us a short code block here that we can just embed in any kind of website, and it will exactly create this kind of thing here. And we can also customize it a bit. We can choose our brand color here in a hex code. So if our brand color is blue, if we look at in Lingua, actually their brand colors are fully black and white. So if we would do it for them, we could, for example, make it all black here. And then we have here an option to upload an image for the launcher. Here, these two are images here and here that you can adapt, and this one as well we can update. So as I'm wandering around the screen to make space to show you what it works, let's just update the names here. Let's say this is, if we have this for in Lingua, let's call this in Lingua AI Assistant here to answer your questions. Then we can also choose if the chat should remember what the user typed in last time, or if it always should start as a new chat, even if the same user comes back. And if you're a paying member of Voiceflow, you can also get rid of this assistant by Voiceflow thing down here. All right, and that's all you need to know to get from a Miro flowchart to a functioning AI assistant in Voiceflow. Alright, so now I have my AI assistant in Voiceflow, right? But how do I get it on my website? And how can I even put it on my client's website to demonstrate them how it would look incorporated in what they already have? That's exactly the question I'll answer in my next video. So if you're curious about that, make sure to subscribe. If you have any other questions or AI related topics you'd like to know more about, please let me know in the comments, and otherwise I'll see you in the next one. Bye!